Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clarke.
And I'm Elke Clarke. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold $15 million and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created our signature course, the Profit by Design Academy, which teaches our 5 strategies for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't helping creative entrepreneurs just like you create profitable e-commerce businesses, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you, the creative, can take to make money in your e-commerce business on Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to achieving freedom with your time, location, and finances.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. And we're here to give you the tools you need to make your dreams happen. Let's get started. Hey there, it's Elke.
And Jen, and in this episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, we're going to cover what do you need to do to brand your Zazzle store.
Branding is so important because your customer who comes to your store has basically 3 seconds in which they're going to decide whether they like your store or if they're leaving your store. And we want them to stay. As Zazzle designers, we want people to come to our store, browse around, check out our products, and finally buy. Mm-hmm. But if you don't present a great image in terms of being professional and also something that they realize this is where I'm supposed to be, mm-hmm. then unfortunately they're just going to click off. And that's one of the things that's a disadvantage when you're in the online space. You have very little contact with the actual customer, so you have to do much more in order to brand yourself and your company on the Zazzle platform in a way that allows that to happen passively, so that when any customer comes at any time of night or day, they're going to say, wow, this is a cool place, cool store. What is in the store? I'd like to check out more. So that's the idea behind it. I know I'm making a little bit fun of it, but that is the most important thing, because then you have an opportunity to then virtually continue to sell them using some of the other strategies that we can cover in another podcast. But today we're going to talk about specifically branding of the homepage, and we're going to walk through all the different areas on the homepage of the Zazzle store that you've opened where you can actually make a difference and literally put branding information in there so that the customer feels really comfy and cozy and says, hey, I want to keep checking this place out.
Mm-hmm. So the first item that we're going to cover in terms of where you can add information about your brand is in the banner. And the banner is found at the top of your Zazzle store homepage. And it basically is like a Facebook banner where you can add an image. And we recommend you add an image where you've created one either in a Photoshop program or an editor program where you've added images of your products so that you can showcase your products that you have for sale in your Zazzle store and your banner at the top of your homepage.
So what are some tips, though, about the banner and how they can use it most effectively to look professional?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to create a banner that looks a little bit hodgepodge or mix and match, where you've taken products, for example, and they're not to size. So you wouldn't take a mug and then put a picture of a cell phone case next to it, but have it at the same sort of height, because your mug and a cell phone case probably aren't going to be the exact same size, or a backpack or a pair of shoes, for example. If you have different items or products in your store that you want to showcase, then create a collage that actually looks like it could be real in terms of keeping the size ratio proper, because it just makes the customer a little bit uneasy, so to speak, where they're looking at an image that really doesn't make sense to them and they're just not understanding what's happening. And we do see this mistake made by a lot of Zazzle designers where they think that they just want to showcase all their products that they own, no matter what size they are, which is awesome, but they don't take into account that this image just looks really unprofessional and a little bit odd to the actual natural eye, because what I mentioned before, you wouldn't see a mug the same size as a pair of shoes. What you also want to use this banner for is to showcase the products that you're going to showcase when you scroll down in your homepage, in your categories, and in your collections too. So it's like a customer journey where you're bringing the customer in at the top part of your homepage. And then when they scroll down, they realize that those products are actually found within specific categories in your store, and they can easily find those products that you're showcasing in your banner.
It's perfect, yeah. And the other thing is the content of the products that are in your banner have to match what the customer came there to find. So if the customer is expecting martial arts things and you're not showcasing those types of products because that's not like that's your decision to do that, whereas the logo and the store name are martial arts related, then you definitely need to showcase martial art related type things in your banner.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more on that?
Well, we do have a couple, either Zazzle designers or students before they took our course, where they would use the banner to actually showcase a piece of artwork, especially if they were an artist, that really resonated with them, but it had nothing to do with the brand of their store. And they thought, well, this is a piece of artwork that I made and I'm very proud of it. But it was, for example, a landscape when they had a store about cats, or they had a store about something completely different than the image that they were using. And we want to make sure that you understand that this is a huge piece of like real estate where you can capture your audience and capture your customer and really bring them in to the buying experience. And if you're not utilizing that banner properly, then you're just losing the customer, because when they start scrolling down and they see that the banner has nothing to do with what's in the store, they're going to disappear. They're going to go and click off on somebody else's store because they're going to find something else interesting.
Yes, and we want you to have the chance of a sale. So this is a big place where you can make a difference in terms of keeping that customer on your store front so that you can then have them move through, as Jen said, the buying customer journey, where you can easily showcase in the store category icons and in any product feeds that you have on the Zazzle homepage of your store that are related to whatever the products are in your banner. Consider your banner like to be, just as the word says, it's a banner. It's there for advertising.
Yeah.
It's there to tell the customer, guess what? These are the kinds of products that are there for you, and would you like to buy them? Keep scrolling and find them down in the categories underneath. And so that's definitely a really important location for you to start communicating with your customer about what it is that you offer in that store. The other thing that has to happen, as Jen said, the way it looks, you can't have things that are disproportionate, but you have a couple of options. One of which is to show the customer in situ a collection of items that may fit together, but they're all proportionate and they look like they're all in the same spot or photograph or image. And that's really much what's called like a flat lay or in situ. And that's using Photoshop and creating those images that allow you to take the pieces of the products that you have online and then manipulating them and creating a single image. The other thing that we can tell you, though, is a really nice little cheat almost, is take some of the pictures of your products that are shown in situ on the Zazzle Marketplace as one of the product views and use those, and then create a banner with maybe 3 at most of these images so that it looks like blocks. And between those, you're going to put like a little bit of space so that there's white lines in between separating it. So then there's no issue about showcasing a mug that's quite big next to a t-shirt that's going to be smaller. So, but still, because the t-shirt is being worn by someone and the mug is next to a donut or something like that on a table, the customer can get each of those images easily. And so that's a really nice workaround for you. And hopefully you take that advice and use it so that your store looks more professional and the customer continues to keep looking in your store for that buying journey.
Yeah.
So the next place that we want to show or talk about with regards to your branding is the logo that's associated with your store. Do you want to speak to that initially, or should I go?
You go for it. You go for
Okay.
it.
So the logo has to obviously also have the same name as your store URL. And in another episode, we'll talk about the actual naming of your store and the importance of that. But right now, you're going to have a store logo that reflects the name of your store that you chose with the Zazzle URL. And you're going to have it reflect in terms of design, color, text choice, and legibility, the feel and look of your store and your brand. This is very, very important. So if you have a store that's very minimalistic in terms of the designs it offers, then you're going to have a minimalistic logo, and it probably will be black or white, and it won't have any sort of additional curlies or cues or frilly things. It could be the opposite if you have a vintage store that provides anything to do with Victorian era or Art Deco. Then your font choice will be such that the customer right away can see that your logo reflects what kind of things that you're going to offer in the store. That is a soothing thing for the customer, and it allows you to have that second touch point in addition to the banner that says, hey, you're in the right spot. And then that customer feels so good that they've come across a store where they know what they're going to get, and the logo makes sense to them as well. Then the other parts of the logo are the things that are next to the store logo. They kind of pop up in the banner, and there's an opportunity for you to have your store name written out and also a tagline. And that's right next to the logo on the right-hand side, just in the bottom part of your store homepage on the Zazzle platform. So this particular area is a place where you can be very consistent. So if you have a store URL that doesn't match what you really want to call your store, then make sure that the store name that you want on there is definitely represented in the text where Zazzle says put in your store name. And then the logo would have the same text in that logo area just right next to it, so that there is at least consistency there, even if it's not consistent in the actual store URL. Then underneath it, you're going to take that time to really craft a nice short worded tagline that explains to the customer specifically what they're going to get from your brand and from your store. So this takes a lot of time, takes some extra care to use the words that are going to reflect what the customer is waiting to hear and to read, so that they can say, oh yeah, this is true, this is where I'm going to find this stuff. And yeah, so if it's the minimal example, then you would say minimal designs crafted for that person that's looking for that unique type of design. I don't think I gave that good example there, but you understand the point that you're basically saying to the customer, this is what our store and our brand is all about, minimal designs.
Yeah.
Whereas if then it's a vintage, you say all things vintage, customizable products that are gorgeous or something like
And
that.
something's short and sweet too.
It's very short, so that's why I was having a little bit of trouble kind of bringing it into the short set parts that are available in terms of the letters. But you can figure something out there, but that should also reflect what your title is of your store or the name of your store. And so those three work together, and they're actually all positioned together so that you as a designer can be very clear in your messaging about what this store is about. And then along with the banner, you've already got them hooked in if you've done your job correctly.
Have you heard about our Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Facebook group yet?
Are you a Zazzle designer who is struggling to find a community where you'll receive training, content, and be able to connect with like-minded creatives who also want to crush it on Zazzle? Then the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Facebook group is perfect for you.
Joining is easy. Click the link in the show notes and we will see you on the inside. Now let's get back to the show.
So what about the About section?
Yeah, the About section is a little text box that you can fill out with more detail in terms of who you are as a Zazzle designer, what you offer, and a little bit about you or your store. And then this is also a very good opportunity for you to add a contact email. We recommend that you create a Gmail or an account that isn't associated with your own personal account, because it is on the internet. Anybody can see this, but something to do with your store. So we recommend, for example, if your store is a minimal store, you say minimaldesigns@gmail.com. Please contact me for any customized design work that you want done. And the reason why we recommend you do this, especially in the About page, is because the reason why most customers come to Zazzle is to customize products. And if they see that they like a certain version of something that's in your store, but you don't actually offer it for sale, the customer feels really comfortable knowing that you, as the Zazzle designer, are willing to create something special and tailored for them.
Perfect. Yeah. And anything else that you want to say about yourself, keep it more to the end. Try to find like one longer sentence that says everything, like welcome to, and then you say your store name again. This is the place where you will find, and then that's where you repeat your tagline, which is what you said initially, like minimal designs. And then that you can customize, and then you add that part in about the email, and that you do custom work. Or if you don't want to do custom work, you can just say that this is where you can contact the design house that in order to make sure that you get what you need in terms of your order, something like that. And it should all be in the first 2 or 3 lines of the about text, so that people don't have to click the more button in order for them to see your contact and anything about you being helpful.
Yeah.
So that people really feel like, okay, you're going to take care of me here in this store. I'm going to keep browsing.
Yeah. And for anyone who doesn't understand that, if you bump the text out and it's too many lines, then you actually have to click the drop down menu to say see more. And it actually takes you to another page, which is your about page. And you're not able to see the last couple of lines on your actual store homepage. So if you kept it within those first 3 lines or so, then your entire message will always be able to be seen on the homepage, because it doesn't get hidden under the see more button.
Yeah. And also Jen makes a really good point, because when you get the customer clicking on see more and it goes and pops up to the about page, you've lost the customer in terms of them buying something unless they decide to click back on. And so we don't want that. We want them to continue down on that homepage of your store, so that you can use that homepage very effectively to begin to literally market to them with your store categories and anything that you put on the homepage, such as a product feed or a collection feed. Okay, what's next?
On the right-hand side, you will probably have seen that there is a section called Media, and this is where you're able to upload photos that showcase your artwork and your designs, and you can create mock-up photos like what we were speaking about with the banner, which are in situ, or flat lays to show the product within a certain space, but within Photoshop. Or if you've actually ordered a couple of your products, you can quickly snap some pictures of it actually physically somewhere. Or you can just take a picture of the design that you've created if you're an artist or a graphic designer or a photographer, and you can upload your artwork there too. This is to give your customer an idea of what's in your store and give them a sense of like what your product looks like in real life. And it's always available to be seen on the right-hand side of your profile. So as soon as they start to scroll down a little bit from your top main home banner, they'll be able to see the media files. And if you have some really attractive in situ or mock-up photos of your products actually being in real life, or making it look super cozy in a home, or somebody's wearing a t-shirt of something that you designed, the customer actually reacts to those materials better, because they see, okay, someone else is using it and this is what they look like. I want that as well. Or that home looks amazing staged with those pillows. I want those pillows in my house now. And so the media files will engage them and actually inspire them to purchase things that are in your store. And this is kind of connected to the way that we spoke to you about the banner, where you want to showcase products that are in your banner in your categories, or vice versa. You always want to make sure that the products that are on your actual categories or in your collections are the ones that are in your banner or in your media, because when a customer sees a really cool girl or man, or a woman or man wearing a t-shirt and wants to buy that t-shirt, and they click down onto your homepage and they're searching for it and they can't find it, they're going to give up and they're going to find a different t-shirt from somebody else's store, or maybe something completely different, or they leave Zazzle completely. And you don't want that to happen, because you want to make sure that you're engaging the customer and capturing their attention so that they ultimately buy, because that's the end goal. We want you to get sales. And if your media or if your branding isn't cohesive with everything that's going on in your store, you are going to lose potential sales, because your customer just, first of all, can't find the product that you're showcasing, and second of all, doesn't have the confidence to purchase with you because they just don't know where to find the stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you can see now that even though we're talking about branding, we're also talking about sales and using your homepage to make the customer feel very comfortable that they want to continue to buy. That is part of branding. You need to give that aura off, the customer seeing something professional so they trust you, of obviously something that they want to buy. You have to offer that to them, but also just how easy it is to flow through that Zazzle store homepage in order for them to access whatever it is that you've just led them into the store for, and that so that they have a wonderful buying experience. And then they'll actually seek you out afterwards by your brand to find more things in your store if they've had an entirely good experience all the way through. Okay, so then we've talked about categories already. What a lot of designers do is they right away hit the customer with a lot of collections right after the About section. And what we recommend is that you give the customer less choices, even though that seems rather odd, but you give the customer less choices so that they can just feel that they've been taken care of as part of your brand and what you stand for. And so therefore you should put the categories there first and keep it to a minimum of about 6. And that way the customer doesn't have to scroll through too many in order to find the section that they might continue through into. Now, in terms of how you set up your store categories, that's also branding. Branding in terms of what icons you use to showcase your store categories. They need to be in sync with whatever you used in your logo and whatever you used in your banner, and so that they have the same colors, the same text, font styles, the same look or feel, and that's all part of branding. Because if they now see something completely different, they're going to feel odd, and that's the first spider sense tingling of them going, what's going on here? This isn't quite right. And so you're going to lose customers that way. As hard as that seems to believe, it is actually very true. And we have, as designers, very, very short time periods, like 3 seconds or less, for the customer to experience all of this that we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. And so we want to have you completely prepared for that 3-second visual look at all of these areas within the Zazzle store that you've got on your homepage. And that's so crucial, because that's going to when you nail it with your branding and you do all of these things together, then all of a sudden it's going to click and people are going to start recognizing you and having the brand be something that they are looking for, rather than you just selling something one-off because it's a cute purple flower. And that's the objective behind this branding podcast, is to make sure that you really understand that every single aspect of what you're doing with showcasing your products, your designs, and also what's on your store homepage, all cohesively build and make the brand that you are presenting to the customer. And then they see it and feel it and experience it by the service, and feel it and see it by what they get as an emotional reaction when they come to your Zazzle store homepage. Okay, so that's kind of it for that. Thank you so much for listening in, and we can't wait to talk to you more about how you can make money on Zazzle using online marketing and strategies.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening to The Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur with Jen and Elke Clarke.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to start and scale your Zazzle business so that you can have the passive online income to have location and time freedom to live your dream life.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more creative entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce business.
And don't forget to take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories and tag us at Miss Jen Clarke and at Elke Clarke. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's episode. See you back here next week.